G'day, HMHari here. This video is going to try to get you to think about things a little bit differently than you've been thinking about them probably for quite a long time or entirely since the breakup, and you're attempting to work through and survive the BPD relationship breakup if you have codependency. So this is a different kind of paradigm I'm going to be forwarding, and I have another video to follow this up, which is going to be what you need to know more about and what will help you to consider in what I'm calling a little bit of a masterclass video. So what am I talking about here? Well, codependent focus on the BPDX blocks your recovery. Why would I say such a thing? Because people are out there and people are adamant. And I'm not going to try to say it's a black and white, a dichotomous equation. It's not black and white. But what I'm here to say is that more people than not really need to adjust their focus. How much of it's going to the X, or the maybe just about to be X, or the person with BP that ghosted you, that you're not sure if it's on or off again, you don't know how to let go. All of this really terrible experiences in the middle of all this, because some people don't even know if it's really over yet or not. And some people are trying to reverse Hoover, and some people are getting Hoovered. And by the way, not all people with BPD are the same. Not all people with BPD Hoover. Many do. They all don't. Many people with codependency reverse Hoover. Many do. They all don't. So what am I talking about here? That if you're codependent and all this focus on the borderline or even the narcissist, or quote cluster B unquote, is blocking your recovery. It's really not helping people to the extent or for the length of time or as much as you think it is. Wow, now I'm really swimming upstream with this message, aren't I? Well, this is what I've seen in 30 plus years of client work, number one. Number two, it's been my own personal experience in recovering and healing from a narcissistic dysfunctional family of origin. That the more you focus on them, so in my case, I'm using narcissistic dysfunctional family of origin, comorbid BPD, NPD mother, dark Chad father. The more I focused on them many decades ago, I wasn't making a whole lot of forward progress. And when I started to make incredible forward progress in all the recovery, healing, and processing that I needed to do, including many, a couple different things, and codependency, it was really about not still focusing back on them. And I had a relationship with somebody with BPD, NPD, who was an alcoholic, 2004, 2006, as I mentioned here before. I'll use that as an example. I was all healed and recovered from BPD. Now I'm with the quote, cluster B, unquote. And I was still more codependent back then for sure, because I've worked on that since then, and it's different now. But my point is, like, I was focusing on that person in the relationship. That's the other thing. This focus for people with codependency, it not only starts in your childhood, but you're uber focused on the person with, like the cluster B that you're with, whatever they may have or not have, or comorbidity have, or whatever. Like, who cares? Because the bottom line is, yeah, you might care a lot right now. You want to parse all that out, and, but what it's in pursuit of, as so many people say and really truly believe, this focus on I gotta understand borderline personality or narcissistic personality or whatever it is better. And I'm not saying that you should eliminate that, no, nor would people listen to me anyway. But I'm saying the more you're focused on them, what are you actually in pursuit of? Okay, there's what are you in pursuit of as a codependent, as a wounded person, from this person that you're pursuing to know so much more about, whether you think or you know that they had BPD, whether you think or you know that they might be BPD, NPD comorbid, whether you think or you know that they were an NPD, or you might not know, but that doesn't matter. So it's like focusing on all that becomes focusing on closure, becomes focusing on let's see, many other aspects of like what happened, what's going on, why can't I get out of this, or even if you were ghosted, or even if you've left a person, how come I can't stop this ruminating and all the things that come with this, the cognitive dissonance, the Stockholm syndrome of it all, the unhealthy bonds. But what's really even deeper? There's two things. One is you're pursuing, you are enabling yourself still to be in the dysfunctional relationship tune with yourself, because you're forgetting yourself, you're self-abandoning yourself in all this quest for all this knowledge. More often than not, people are, at least for a time, and sometimes a long time. So there's that, and that emboldens and continues to fuel all of the reasons, aside from the person who just hurt you with BPD or NPD, all the reasons you as a codependent are in like a boatload of agony, to put it mildly, because you're still in that codependent, unhealthy, externalizing everything out. Now, instead of trying to rescue, and some people are still trying to rescue after relationships are over, or sort of that no contact, but with contact, reverse Hoover, in that middle ground area of incredible pain, people are still in the codependent pattern of focus on other, focus on other, focus on other. So whether that switches from rescue, focus on the borderline or the narcissist, to I gotta know more about BPD, I gotta know more about NPD, whichever it is, or if you think it's comorbidity both, I need to understand that, because that's it right there. That's it. No, because you know what? That just keeps you doing what you've been doing since whenever the seeds of codependency were sown in you as a child. You're still externalizing the focus out there and thinking it's going to give. That understanding actually gives you the answers to what you need to heal and recover. It doesn't. It really doesn't. Might help sometimes. But what's the number two thing about that, besides you're still actively in a codependent role? Only now and for lots of people, it is rescuing the borderline or the narcissist still, or I got to write them one more time. I got to tell them one more time I think they have this, because like, how would they ever, what are they going to do? I wouldn't be being me if I didn't do this. Or what about my stuff? Or they have my stuff, or this stuff, or they owe me money. These are all the things that have to be let go of. And so does the focus on the borderline, and I'm including narcissists here, or comorbidity, both. Because what's the second aspect beyond which I just described? Whatever you think it's about. And here, I'm here to say this as somebody who's worked with people for 30 years, right? And I've lived it and I know it inside out. I'm not here to insult you or your intelligence, but when people are in these places of self-abandonment still, denying their own feelings, trying to understand, we see in some ways a lot of commiseration, a lot of support, a lot of information exchanged by people across the internet, who've been hurt by somebody with BPD or NPD or comorbidity both, or whatever they think it is, or whatever it really is, who knows. But we also see something that I'm going to be talking about in my next video, which is already done, which will be put up in a little while, probably tonight. So it's where the challenge is for you to be able to think outside this box, and what is the box that you're actually thinking inside of that you may well not be aware of. It is a philosophical / psychological analysis of what's happening between people with largely codependence and borderlines, but you could apply it to a narcissist too. And this idea that if all borderlines are the same, if all narcissists are the same, that then we would have to say it's a logical fallacy. Then we would have to say, so therefore, all codependents are the same. So I talk about this in my upcoming video. But what's the other aspect of this that's so not helpful for you in the constant pursuit of more and more? I have so many clients. They have read so many books on BPD. And I hear regularly about, but this didn't make any sense. This book didn't help me. That didn't help me. Not that some books aren't helpful, but in terms of how to help the person with BPD, I don't know if there's a book out there called How to Help the Narcissist, but if there is, they're not going to be helpful, okay? Because you can't do this. You need to fix you. You need to heal you. You can't take care of anybody else. You can't do that. You can't fix, rescue, change, get them back, make it all work for yourself by externalizing out what you need to make work for yourself. I'm just passionate here. So the reality of this is, what is the second thing that I'm talking about here? And that is really, it belongs in the number 2 position, but it's just as important as how you're abandoning yourself and how you're still strengthening your codependent muscles, if you will, with what you're doing in looking for all the answers to the questions about the borderline or the narcissist or the comorbidity both. The second thing is this. People might not want to know this. People might not want to hear this. Some people may well already know this, but people in all different kind of areas. So everything, here's what I suggest that you need to think more about. And my next video coming up will help you to think about it from a basis of a false paradigm that you may well be in. And by false paradigm, I don't mean that you haven't been hurt by this person. No, you have been, and that they are responsible for that, but that you can't hold them accountable. You still want to be seen and you still want to be heard and etc., etc. And I don't mean to minimize that, but what is the second reason why? Reading like a stack of books on BPD or NPD or both, or trying to be the amateur psychoanalyst that so many people are trying to be, that X's all over the place think they are. And I'm not saying you're not intelligent people and you can't know a lot, but here's the thing. The reason why this isn't helping you, and the reason why it blocks recovery for people after these relationships, or when you're still working out if they're on, off, and all that stuff, it blocks your recovery. If you have codependency, blocks your recovery whether you have codependency or not. If you're the ex of somebody with BPD or you have a narc ex, well, here's the thing. Because all of that focus and all of that trying to understand, as much as you might say, oh no, wait a minute, before I even say it, you might go, oh no, AJ, you're wrong. This is crazy. That's not what I want at all. But see, whether it's closure, whether it's a cognitive dissonance, whether it's the pull for want more physical intimacy, just get another hit of that, because you can't live without it. And it's all very painful and it's all very compelling. And you're lost and you're confused. And, well, everything, I would assert to you, at one point or another, for most people with codependency, everything comes down to something underneath the want for closure, the want to be seen, the want to be heard, which those needs go back to childhood, by the way. So not everything is even about the cluster B to begin with, but what they did and how they hurt you, where you're at, yeah, there's that, for sure. I'm not trying to minimize that. But what's under all of it? I need my stuff back. I have their stuff. I want to rescue them. Cognitive dissonance. I don't know how to let go. I can't, the codependent externalization still, and abandonment of self, and the friggin' question, why? Why did this happen? What happened? Why? This is what people with codependency are so focused on becoming, to one degree or another, experts in cluster B. And I think a lot of people push that too far forward and sometimes get caught up in the pseudoscience of the APA and may not share my opinion. All that's fine and well and good. But everything that you think your pursuit of understanding them is all about, I challenge you to think about this, and so will my next video. Because I'm swimming upstream here. I don't care what everybody else is saying. In fact, I'm here saying what I'm saying because of what everybody else is saying. I mean, I'd be saying this anyway, but it's even more important, I think, for people to hear. And it's not going to resonate with everybody. Underneath the seeking closure, seeking this, wanting to be heard, wanting to be, I need to fix. I need to tell them I wouldn't be being me. You don't know who you are anyways as a codependent with default self and codependency. Underneath all of it is really you're searching for and trying to solve the grand mystery of what just happened here. Why? How could somebody do that to me? Because it's so freaking painful. Beyond painful. And it triggers the living you-know-what out of your codependent pain that you had nicely, many people have had nicely tucked away in their unconscious mind for a long, long time. And boom, up it flies at the same time that you're getting hurt by the cluster B. And what does all this really mean? It really means that you need to get in your own healing and recovery journey faster than you think, that you need to focus on yourself more than you could imagine, that you need to stop the self abandonment, that you need to stop the quest to understand the BPD or the BPD NPD or whatever the case is, because you, and even if you work in the mental health profession, it's not good for you either, if you have a partner or had a partner with BPD or NPD. But you're not a mental health professional, most of you, and you don't need to try to study like you are one to heal yourself, because it's getting in your way, because it's all about trying to answer the question why. And then what's under the trying to answer the question why, with all this pursuit and external focus where you're not taking care of yourself? Why? And I don't like the why questions, are not helpful in the beginning, but why do you think it is that you can't let go of the why and the what happened and the, like, what? Well, because there's a great big why inside of you. There's a wounded inner child inside of you screaming why. Why do you care more about that person that just creamed us, meaning you and your inner child, than you do about me, meaning your inner child? All this chasing the why is really essentially, and some of it, yeah, I get it, right? But mostly, essentially, it's chasing the whys and the what happened and the how come and who could do this to me and the pain that's already happened to you in childhood. So it becomes dualistic for sure. But why aren't people like what I sort of got set on a course in my own healing recovery journey at the age of 16 was not only, but I was trying to figure out what was going on for me. I was trying to figure out what had happened with the family of origin. And then, yeah, sometimes the focus would go on to them. But I wasn't in this is pre-internet, pre-books on these subjects. So luckily it didn't give me all this stuff to get in the way of healing and recovery, because I wasn't looking in books for, well, okay, so my mother's comorbid BP NPD, my father's a dark triad, and this means they do this. I didn't need to do all of that. I was focusing on me in the process. And yes, sometimes they would come up and how they hurt me and what was being done or said or what happened and all that. But the point is, under all of the quest to understand cluster B better is firstly a self-abandonment, and secondly, whatever you think you're pursuing, it's the question why. And it goes deeper inside. And if I resonate with you, I hope that you might consider working with me, because I'm helping people to shift this and to stop being all over the internet from YouTube channel to YouTube channel, which is fine if you're watching them, whatever is your choice, and commenting all over the place in the sense of regurgitating over and over, what you're really chasing a why answer. It doesn't matter if you're thinking about closure or how to rescue still, but it's why. And why is a question that is best, healthiest, left to the sort of near the end. In other words, when you're starting to look at yourself, when you get there to look in and lean into your pain, when you focus on yourself, when you start breaking the codependent patterns that you've been living with all your life or most of your life, then you're going to start to do the healing, recovering work. Then you're going to get in touch with your feelings. Then it's all going to shift. And then you're not going to care so much about why, but the answers to why come through that process. So I'm really adamant about this. It's what I've seen work more often than not. It's what I've been probably trying to address in other ways, speaking about other things. But the bottom line is, so think about what I said here, because for some people, it becomes an outright switch of addiction to be so focused on the borderline or the narcissist. And some people do it in a measured way, maybe not at the beginning. Then some people go, oh, I got to back up from these videos on the borderline narcissist or the comorbidity, both. But because I got to look at me. But more codependents than not are going to do this for an elongated period of time, and it increases your pain. It doesn't decrease. Some people say, well, I found out this, I understood that, and it really helped me. Okay, but overall, you're not in your own process. You're not focused on yourself. And that was the initial problem and painful reality of your childhood, housed within your unconscious, that got you into the relationship with the cluster B in the first place. And I don't mean it's your fault. I just mean, you didn't understand. So think about that. And the next video I have coming, it's a little bit long and probably a lot of people won't care about it, but I challenge you to listen to it because it is an analysis of something philosophical and psychological that I think would help people greatly, as would it also help you to realize you don't need your answers by figuring out the cluster B to the nines and reading a stack of books and watching videos for years and years and years and years, which is the case for a lot of people these days. And people watch them as a way of avoiding them. I mean, on a borderline or a narcissist. People watch these videos. So I have many clients who become self-aware of this. They're like, I've been watching all these videos, and I'm not saying don't watch any. I'm just saying think about this. That when you're watching the videos that just keep going over and over and over, the borderline, the narcissist, the borderline, the narcissist. Well, how is that? You're still externalizing your focus out in what is a codependent, unhealthy relational pattern. You're still not with you. And many people that I've been working with, not only lately but over the years, realize this. We come, in the process, I help them to realize this. And I've never really just put this out in video before. But the bottom line is, think about it. See where you are in all of this. And if you're into the reverse Hoovers and the Hoovers, and you're online writing all over the place to get help and support, I'm not judging that, but you're looking for the answers of why, and you're looking for comparative narratives and things that my next video is really going to speak to. Why, besides maybe support and that, it doesn't really help you like you think it does. Because every codependent needs to know this one thing. You need to put the focus on yourself. You need to lean into you. You need to get into your own healing recovery, which includes inner child work, family of origin, self-differentiation, among other things. You cannot continue to escape your pain while thinking that you're actually really getting somewhere in healing with the focus on the cluster B. So I hope that was helpful. I hope you'll just think about it. It's not what's usually said out there, but for so many reasons, I know that for more people than not, it's absolutely what's blocking the recovery. So take care.